Hey, welcome back to another episode of Money and Marriage Made Simple. I'm Tina, and I'm so glad you're here with me today because this episode is a little different from what I normally do. I'm not telling you a story today. I'm inviting you to join me inside the 5-day budget breakthrough challenge. Yesterday, April 6th, I opened the doors for the very first time. And today, I want to take you on a walk inside the challenge so you can see what it's all about. Not to sell you on it, though if you want to look into it, I'll leave the link in the show notes. But because I think this is going to be the best way for you to understand what this is and whether or not you can actually use it. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to walk you through all 5 days of this challenge, what happens each day, why I built it the way I did, and what it actually feels like to do this work. And I'm going to share a story of a client of mine. I'll call them Mark and Becca. They went through a version of this process with me privately, and their experience shaped a lot of what is now inside this challenge. Whether you're already registered or you're on the fence or you're just curious, stay with me. I think this will be worth your time today. I want to start by telling you why this challenge exists, because I think it matters. For as long as I've been coaching couples, I've seen the same pattern play out over and over again. A couple decides they're going to get serious about their finances. They find a budgeting app, or they watch some videos, or they buy a book. Maybe they sit down one night and build something that looks like a budget. And then life happens. Something unexpected comes up, or the motivation just fades, or one partner loses interest before the other does, and the whole thing quietly falls apart. And the couple walks away from that experience believing something that is not at all true. They believe that they are the problem, that they don't have the discipline or the math skills or the right kind of brain for this. I want to be really direct with you. That is not what has happened. What happened is that they tried to do something incredibly difficult, build a joint financial system from scratch, but they did it without a guide. They did it without a structure built for two people and without anyone checking in on them. Of course, it didn't stick. When Zach and I were paying off our debt, we paid off $50,000 in about 11 months. We didn't do it because we were naturally disciplined people. In fact, it was the exact opposite. We did it because we had a system, a real, repeatable system that we built every single month and checked in on every single week. And we did it together. That system is what this challenge teaches you. I built it because I kept watching couples try to figure this out alone. And I kept thinking they don't need more information. They need a guide. They need someone to sit there with them and say, here's exactly what to do today, and then tomorrow, and then the day after that. That's what this challenge is. Okay, before I walk you through the 5 days, I want to tell you about Becca and Mark. They came to me for private coaching earlier this year. They had been married for about 5 years, and in those 5 years, they had approximately made 412 attempts to get on the same page about money. But I'm exaggerating, only slightly. They tried budget spreadsheets, 3 different versions. They tried the envelope method. They tried watching YouTube videos. They had the big, serious, we need to get our finances together conversation so many times that the conversation itself had become a source of dread. When Mark first reached out to me, he said something I've thought about a lot since. He said, I think we know what we're supposed to do. We just can never seem to actually do it together. That phrase, together, was the whole thing. They weren't struggling because of a lack of information. They were struggling because the process of building a financial system had never felt like something they were doing as partners. It always felt like one person dragging the other, or one person disengaging while the other person managed everything. It never felt like a team effort. So when we started working together, the very first thing I had Mark and Becca do was sit down at the same table at the same time, and look at the same information together. The full picture, every debt, every income source, every monthly expense. Then I asked them about their goals and their values. They had to start with why they wanted to make a change with their finances. She told me later that in 5 years of marriage, they had never done that. Never sat down together and looked at the whole thing at once. Never talked about why they wanted to make these changes. Becca said that was the first conversation that actually felt like they were on the same page with their money. Not because the number was good, it wasn't, but because they were both sitting with the same truth at the same time. There was nothing to hide from and nothing left out. Just two people looking at the same reality and deciding together what to do about it. And that's what day one of this challenge is. I want you to hear that story before I walk you through the days, because the days are just structure. The real thing that happens inside the challenge is that shift, that moment where you stop being two people managing a financial situation and become a team building a financial life. Okay, let me walk you through each day of this challenge. Day one is all about money mindset and getting aligned, the why of what you're doing. And I want to be upfront. Most people expect day one to be all about spreadsheets and numbers. It's not. We're not opening a budget on day one. We're doing something that I believe matters more. We're figuring out why money has felt so hard. We look at your money story, where your beliefs about money came from, how your childhood experiences are still shaping the decisions you make today. We do a values alignment exercise that helps couples discover what each of them wants their money to do. And for anyone doing it solo, it's about getting honest with yourself about your relationship with money, which is the foundation everything else gets built on. Budgets don't fail because of math. They fail because of misalignment. And day one fixes that first. Day two is the zero-based budget framework. This is where we get into the budget for the first time. This is where every dollar gets a name. Zero-based budgeting means your income minus your expenses equals zero. Not because you've spent everything, but because every single dollar has been assigned a job before the month begins. On day two, we cover the four walls, the expenses you pay first no matter what: food, utilities, shelter, transportation. We calculate your true monthly income, including irregular sources. We walk through budget categories together, and you leave day two with a real first draft budget, possibly the first complete one you've ever had. The psychological shift that happens when your money has a name, when it's intentional instead of reactive, is something I've watched change how couples talk about spending almost overnight. Day three is debt inventory and your debt payoff strategy. This is the day we look at your debt, all of it, not to shame you, to name it, because you cannot fight an enemy you refuse to look at. You'll complete a full debt inventory, every creditor, every balance, every minimum payment. Then we order it smallest to largest and build your debt snowball. The snowball method works because it's designed around the psychology of winning. You pay off the smallest debt first, get that momentum, and roll that payment into the next one. We also cover step one, which is the $1,000 starter emergency fund that goes in place before the snowball starts. We do a found money exercise where you can free up $200 to $500 this month to throw at debt. People are always surprised by what they find. Day four is breaking the paycheck to paycheck cycle. This one is a game changer for a lot of people because you can have a budget, a real one built on real numbers, but still feel broke by the 20th. And it's not because you spent too much. It's a timing problem. On day four, we build a budget calendar, timing your bills to your actual paychecks so the money is where it needs to be when it needs to be there. We talk about sinking funds, setting aside money every month for irregular expenses that always blindside people, like the car registration, the medical bill, the annual subscription, so they don't derail the whole budget when they arrive. And we talk about building margin, a small buffer in your account so you are not living right on the edge every month. If you've ever wondered where your money goes before the month is even over, day 4 answers that question. And finally, day 5 is the day everything comes together. We complete your first full zero-based budget live, putting everything from day 2, 3, and 4 together into one complete picture. We cover the 5 most common beginner mistakes and how to avoid them. We talk about what to do when you overspend, because you will at some point. And the answer is grace and adjustment, not shame and quitting. And then we build your 90-day momentum plan, what to focus on in month 1, 2, and 3, how to do your monthly money dates as a couple, or if you're doing this solo, your individual check-in system. And you set your first debt snowball payment date, an actual date on your calendar. By the end of day 5, you have a real complete budget, possibly for the first time in your life, and a plan for what the next 90 days looks like. That's not a small thing. That's a genuinely different starting point than where most people spend their entire adult lives. I want to tell you one more thing before I wrap up today. When I ask people what surprised them the most about going through this kind of work, whether it's coaching or a structured challenge, the answer is almost never about the budget. It's about how they feel at the end of it. Mark told me that after our first week of working together, he felt closer to his wife than he had in years. Not because anything dramatic happened, not because they had some big breakthrough conversation, but because they'd spent 5 days of doing something hard together as a team, and they made it through. There's something that happens when 2 people face something scary side by side instead of separately. Something shifts in their marriage. The money becomes less of a dividing line and more of a shared project. That's what I want for you. Not just a budget, though you'll have one. Not just a debt plan, though you'll have one of those too. I want you to walk out of those 5 days feeling like your spouse is your teammate in a way you maybe haven't felt in a while. That's what this challenge is really for. All right, here's where we land. The cart for the 5-day budget breakthrough challenge is open right now. It closes Friday, April 17th. You can go to financeswithoutfear.com/breakthrough to sign up. The challenge itself starts Monday, April 20th. It's under $50. It's just 5 days, and it's built for both of you, not one of you dragging the other, not one of you watching videos while the other one checks out. Both of you together with me walking you through each step. If anything I shared today felt like it was written for you or for your marriage, I'd encourage you to trust that feeling. Go to financeswithoutfear.com/breakthrough to sign up for the challenge. Don't wait. Get in there today and get it done. You can commit to this. And if you have questions before you decide, you can always book a free discovery session with me. That link is in the show notes. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today. I'll be back in your feed on Tuesday, April 14th, with the next episode of Money and Marriage Made Simple. And that is one a little more personal, a little more vulnerable. I think you're going to feel it. Until then, take good care of yourself, take good care of your marriage, and I'll talk to you soon.